What's going on, guys? In today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about some simple settings that you guys can look at on your computer to optimize the performance of Windows 10 operating system. Now, this particular computer is my gaming rig, so the settings can apply to your gaming rig or just your home general use computer. It can also be used at, for a laptop too. Laptops, and if there's any tablets that are, running Windows 10, definitely check it out. So guys, first thing being first is antivirus software. Now, commonly, guys, many times that people really don't consider that antivirus software does utilize memory and CPU. When your antivirus is running behind scenes, as a background program, that is not over exceeding the use of the CPU and memory usage. So to kind of check that out, as you guys can see here, we got Bitdefender installed. So what we're going to do is right click on our taskbar and go to Task Manager. So as you guys can currently see that at this current moment, our Bitdefender software, it's not using that much CPU nor memory. More so Google Chrome, which, man, Google Chrome has always been it's always been a memory hog. No matter how many times Google pushes out a update for it, it's still a memory hog. If you guys don't know that, Google Chrome is a memory hog. So if you do have Google Chrome up, especially if you have multiple windows of Google Chrome, it's gonna chew up some memory. So if you're browsing the internet and you're just like, man, it's slow now, and that's because you got probably more than 4 windows up in Google Chrome. So start to close them down and see if that helps. But anyway, let's get back to antivirus. Our Bitdefender software, as I stated before, it's not utilizing a high utilization of CPU nor memory. That's low. That's wonderful. PC specs, it depends on what type of specs of your hardware, but the key ingredient is to have an efficient antivirus software, of which that company, they're serious about their software definitions, which software definitions is basically a way of saying application updates, okay? And their security application updates. All right, I'm not going to really get into the politics of the best antivirus software out there, but I'm just going to put this out there. If you're trying to look for a antivirus software because you don't have one installed, you need to get one installed now. I don't care what anybody told you that you don't need antivirus. Nah, get it. And the reason why I'm saying that is because right now we're in a time where the greatest war to come, and that has already started, is cyber warfare. That's the greatest war that's going to be known to man, is cyber war. For third world countries that they don't really have that much money, they run these. I want to put it in. I want to put it in the most respectable way, but not respectable way, because what they're doing is wrong. But basically, they run these shops where it's just like a hack shop. A whole bunch of people get together and they just hack other companies across seas, and basically they take their data. They'll either sell it to someone else, especially top secret information, or they'll hold it against the person or company for money, which that's also formerly known as ransomware, where someone would hack your system, take your data, say I got your data, send some notification like, we have your data. If you want your data back, you got to pay this ransom fee, and then depending on how critical that data is, the company may just be like, what, we can't fight it. They got our data. We're gonna pay it. Okay. I say that, guys, to say this, that we use computers not just for gaming, not for just web browsing, but we use it for paying bills, and other critical task stuff. So it's highly important, like medical insurance, stuff like that, stuff that's like really private. So it's highly important, to guys, that you make sure that you have some sort of antivirus software on your computer, and that it is with a legitimate company that is serious about keeping that software up to date. I might get into the politics of which is the top best software. I'm just going to basically tell you guys the software that I've used. All right. So McAfee, I've used it. They're not much of a memory hog. Northern, when Northern antivirus software first came out, man, that thing was a memory hog. Memory hog, I tell you. But at that time, you know, antivirus software wasn't really built for, low CPU and memory utilization. It was just built to do its job. So nowadays, Northern, hats off, they got it on lockdown. So you don't have to have any issues with that. Caspi, let's see. I've used them once. They're pretty good. They do have a lot of add-ons to the software. So I would say memory-wise, you might have to look at it because of so much tools that they have. Some of the tools kind of function separately, so you might have to look at that. Bitdefender, as you guys see that, I love it. I got it. It works. It works great. I mean, I could go on, but I'm not trying to convince you guys to get anything. WebRoot, I've seen it. It's more so, it's an antivirus, but it does have some good features for like web browsing if you're really into like utilizing the web to browse, research, do stuff that involves private information that you don't want to be leaked out. They have like some tools that can help out with that. ESET, that's kind of new to me. I'm not too familiar. I was going to look into it, but I was like, but it's worth a shot. Malwarebytes, now they do have a nice antivirus software, as well as they're really known for the freeware where it comes to I want to say it's a adware Trojan software where it can remove those bugs off the system. So they're really good. I've used it before. I'm not familiar with this company, so I'm not going to speak on it. Trend Michael, I love them. When they first came out, they were pretty good. They had some sort of issues with memory bugs, but I believe they knocked that out. Secure, I'm not too sure. I'm not familiar with those, so I'm not going to speak on it. But in all, guys, I would say definitely Bitdefender. That's my first choice. Northern, then McAfee, then the software here. Again, this is just my free opinion. Antivirus software, it's costly. I truly get it. I truly understand. But you can still get antivirus software for free and reap the benefits of having a secured workstation. Bitdefender Antivirus Free Edition, and I absolutely love it. It works great. I want to kind of pinpoint this out for my gamers. What you want to ensure is that when your antivirus software is running, you do not want it to scan your game folders. Whatever folders your game is in, you do not want it to scan. Let's open up GTA, okay? So I'm gonna right click on GTA, select open file location. So as you guys can see, my GTA Rockstar folder is installed on a solid state drive. I'll get to that later. But basically my antivirus software, it's excluding scanning in this folder. And the reason being is because when you're playing a game and let's say your antivirus scans a file that may be locked and it tries to force it to unlock to scan that file, especially when it comes to like database files, they're really iffy when antivirus software is trying to scan it. So it will basically cause the system to crash. And it definitely can cause your game to crash. So if you're experiencing crashing and you find that your antivirus software was running behind scenes at that given time, then what you want to do is exclude it. What you want to do is you want to go to your antivirus software settings and look for something that's called exclusions, okay? Now from exclusions, what you want to do is select add exclusions. Okay, now from here what you want to do is select add a folder. Okay, is go to, I'm gonna browse out to the location where Rockstar is. So this PC, my G drive for gaming, program files, and Rockstar. So I would select that, and then I would hit select folder. And next I'm gonna select add. Alright, so it says path excluded. So I want to add another one. Alright, so let's see, we did Rockstar Games. Let's do 5. Is that 5 of them? Yeah, let me see something. Hold on. So I'm gonna right click on 5 of them, select open file locations. You guys may not be able to see it. Okay, so it says it's in G program files, 5 of them, because I put it in a custom folder. So now what I'm going to do is G program files. That looks like it would have, it was it, yeah. G program files, 5 of them. All right, cool. So now what we're gonna do is select folder and select add, path excluded. Cool. Basically, I just want to do this for each and every game. So we excluded a lot of our games so that way when antivirus software is running, it's not, interfering with our gaming. Alright, so the thing about Bitdefender is when you try to exit that add exclusions, there's no true X, which you would think you'll see an X to close, but no. So you just have to hit cancel. Now it doesn't necessarily cancel what you added. It just basically closes that window. We're going to get into some Windows options. Alright, first option is our power options. Alright, so what we're going to do is click start, type power. Alright, so now what we're going to do is select power and sleep settings. Select additional power settings. Okay, so we're going to select that. I'm going to adjust my windows so you guys can see. Alright, so more than likely guys, by default, what you guys are going to have is balance. You don't want that. What you guys want to do to optimize the performance side of the Windows 10 is select high performance. Okay, now by doing that, your computer hardware components to basically run more efficient, and not have so much constraints. However, that's not the only setting you need to change. Alright, so what we're going to do is select change plan settings, because there's additional settings. Okay, highly recommend that you keep turn off this display to conserve power. You know what I'm saying? There's no true reason that if you step away from your computer that your monitor should constantly be in displaying, unless you're watching a video, you're looking at a recipe, you got a conference call going on. I get it. But the main thing that you guys want to definitely look into is change advanced power settings now, because this is really gonna be the key ingredient right here. Power options, advanced settings. Now this is the key ingredient right here when it comes to power settings. So you want to ensure that high performance is active. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the hard disk. Okay, so where it says turn off hard disk after, and this is basically like a time when it wants you to put the hard disk into a power saver mode. You want to set that as never, and to do so you basically just put a 0 there. 0 for any of these settings, and it's basically going to say never. And say for instance you're playing a game and you have this option available. It may not completely just put your hard disk to sleep, but it's definitely going to lower the power that your hardware needs to utilize for the function that it's doing. So your computer may be like, okay, all right, I'm at my time that you have set for 5 minutes. We're going to lower the power that's that the hard disk needs for such and such task, based off of these settings. Now you may be playing a game that's like, look, we need everything. We need all she's got. Give it to me. Of which Forza Horizon I was playing, and I was just 15 minutes in. The next minute, it just locked up. Forza Horizon locked up. It basically caused your whole computer to lock up, and I'm just like, golly. Man, that's a serious issue right there. What I found out is that the hard disk was going into a power saving mode and basically caused the game to lock up. All right, so yeah, if you see your games locking up or crashing, check that out, man. Check that out, okay? In Explorer, I set that to maximum performance. But yeah, in Explorer, just set the maximum performance. I don't even use Internet Explorer, but just set that to maximum performance. Wireless adapter settings, okay? You want to set that to maximum performance, guys. Now, I don't have wireless on this PC, but if I did, I would want my wireless adapter settings to be set at maximum performance. And I'm going to go through another network power settings in a few minutes, so keep that on the shelf. But we got sleep never, it's all on your preference. Allow hybrid sleep, yeah, you want to keep that on. So this basically tells Windows that, okay, if I hit start and if I hit power, I still want the options to sleep, to put my computer to sleep. All right, so we're gonna leave that alone. Hibernate after, nah, I have mine to never. Allow wake timers, that's enabled. The USB selector suspend setting. All right, so that's currently being disabled. What I found out, guys, is that this was kind of throttling my USB speed. I had issues with like my steering wheel. I got this gamer steering wheel that you guys can somewhat see right there, and the gamer steering wheel was acting up. It was kind of just like locking up and just jittery, and I'm just thinking like, man, this thing is not getting enough power from the power adapter. But I'm like, nah, I don't know, I don't think so. So I'm like, can't this be that bad, of an issue? It's got to be simple. So then that's when I was like, it receives this connection from the USB ports. Then that kind of means that, all right, we may have some bad USB ports, because ports can go bad. So I tried different other USB ports, and since that's a 2.0 USB device, when I connected to the 3.0, it just went crazy. And it was just like, I was just like, whoa, okay, now you got too much power. So that's kind of telling me it's something going on with these 2.0 power. Maybe it's going into some sort of sleep setting, because when I start the game off, it works fine, and as I get into the game on Forza, then it gets a little bit rough. So I was like, all right. So then that's when I checked this out. It's like, okay, all right, I see what you're doing. You're going to this little suspend mode. So I disable that, and that basically enhanced the performance of your USB device. All right, well, make sure that they have all of the power resources that they need. Okay, PCI Express. All right, this guy's right here, guys. It does kind of correspond to, I want to say, graphics cards. Basically, you want that off. You want your graphics cards to utilize the power that it needs to provide the functions of doing the video encoding for the games. If you do live streaming, you want your video card to be able to function correctly. So with all that being said, and I'm making sure that we're still recording good, turn that setting off. Okay, turn that setting off. Processor power management. All right. So I'm gonna just kind of speed this up. 100%. Okay, 100 active 100. All right. Display. This doesn't really much worry, but it's all in your preference of where you want your display to actually turn off. Multimedia settings, you really don't have to worry about this, but just in case you wanted to see, that's that. All right, so now let's kind of go back into where I stated network power settings. Okay, the network also has a power saving setting, of which Windows will basically put it in the sleep mode, and thus you may not get the adequate connection. Now it's not going to actually show you like drops like that, like bam, you're not connected to the internet, but you may see some issues with performance. So what we're going to do to kind of tell you guys what I'm doing is we're going to, this is your network icon, all right? So what you're going to do is right click, select open network and internet settings. Basically what you want to do is select adapter options, okay? Select adapter options, okay? So from the network adapter options, it's going to basically bring up the network connections. You want to highlight and then right click that connection and select properties. All right, now from here what we're going to do is we're going to select configure my basically my Ethernet card that we're utilizing on my gaming rig. What I want to do is go over to power management. So if you have wireless or Ethernet connection, you should have a tab that says power management. So now by default, guys, you're basically going to see two options enabled. One, which is allow the computer to turn off this device to save power, and then allow this device to wake up the computer. Me, commonly, I just basically uncheck both of them. And basically what I found out is that with this option enabled, indeed did the network card go into a power saving mode. Now it didn't go to a such of a mode where you would see you don't have no internet connection, but yet I noticed that in some games we had some ping issues with the connectivity and some lags and stuff of that nature. And I'm just like, look, I got some decent hardware here. I shouldn't be getting this issue. And then also when it came to just like web streaming, watching videos on YouTube, like connectivity, yes. So definitely take a look at that. You want to make sure that that's unchecked. So let me just knock out Windows updates. When it comes to your computer, number one is always antivirus is always number one. Number two is Windows updates is always number two. What you want to do is ensure that your Windows is being updated weekly to ensure that your computer is going to run efficiently. I'm going to open it up. So start menu, we're going to select settings. Okay, so from settings we're going to select update security. All right, as you guys can see, our last check was today, 12 o'clock in the morning. If I want to kind of force it to update, I'm going to just hit check, and it's going to check for updates, but right now it's not going to find anything because we already checked. What I also wanted to kind of show you guys is that Windows updates for the operating system, it's security enhancements, it's driver enhancements. Some drivers may be for your computer hardware. You got to see driver updates. We got display, update for display, update for printer. All right. Definitions. These are like security definitions. Highly important. Highly important, guys. You definitely want to install the feature updates. Features updates is just like a glob of updates and enhancements for the Windows operating system and other stuff. So definitely. And also I have seen some Windows features like new Windows 10 versions. There have been some benefits too for games. So Microsoft would say, oh, we see a glitch in our system and it's causing a issue with this game or multiple games, so we're going to push it out in a batch. So definitely, guys, keep your Windows up to date. Let's get into the next item is Windows system properties. All right, so what we're going to do is right click on Windows and we're going to select system. From here I'm going to select advanced system settings. We want to look at the performance side of Windows, so we're going to click settings. All right, so we're going to adjust the visual effect of Windows. So by default, you're probably looking at your settings are selected for just for best appearance, which includes all of the visual functions of Windows 10 to make it look so beautiful. what many people don't understand is that that visual appearance does also interact with performance, hardware performance. So to kind of minimize that, what we want to do is we want to select custom. Okay, now from custom, what you want to do is uncheck all of your options, every last one of them. Oops. Okay, so after you've unchecked everything, you want to check show thumbnails instead of icons, smooth edges of screen fonts, and smooth scrolled list boxes. All right, so that's it for performance options. We do have the options of, Windows virtual memory, which I could go into basically how to configure the virtual memory. What I've seen is, like, cause being in the field working on customers' computers, I've seen even when you set and configure the virtual memory, uh, you still run into issues where the virtual memory will utilize the disk space, and let's just say you may not have the adequate disk space for it to use, then thus, you're still going to have that memory issue. So by default, what I typically say is, if you're exceeding your memory, you need to upgrade your memory. If you cannot upgrade your memory, then you need to upgrade your computer completely. So if you're running Windows 10 and you have 2 gigs, I can't even see how you would be running 2 gigs of memory. But if somehow you're able to run 2 gigs of memory on Windows 10, hey, you should upgrade. Even 8 gigs is just, it's it's iffy. It's in a gray area, because when you have like a high demand app and you're trying to run multiple apps, 8 gigs is not going to cut it. 16, you got a good enough leg room. 20, you're there. 32, you can peacefully game and utilize your computer. 64, I'm telling you, you can recline back with 64, but you don't need to do 64. So I would definitely say, for people that's looking for a memory upgrade, I would highly recommend that you at least upgrade to 16 gigs of memory. Memory is very affordable. You don't necessarily have to buy new memory in store. You can buy it off of eBay. That's technically where I bought my memory for the past couple of years. I just buy it used off of eBay. Um, it's not that often that memory will be, overly abused as used video cards. Okay, it's very common that people will sell video cards that have been overclocked and abused, but memory wise, they typically upgrade because they're trying to just basically reach that max memory, and therefore don't need the previous memory. Moral of the story, 2 gigs don't cut it. 8 gigs definitely won't do. 16 gigs, you're okay. 32, you can sleep peacefully at night. Let's see. For everyone out there, all my storage people, what you want to consider, this computer, it hasn't been up and running that long, so storage wise, we're not looking at a defrag system. However, if your Windows computer's been running for a couple of years, you want to perform a disk frag, and that's basically, you want to analyze the disk for fragments of data. So what we're going to do is we're going to select start menu, and we're going to type disk frag. So we're going to highlight and click on defragment and optimize drives. Okay, you want to highlight one of your drives, okay, and you want to select analyze, and basically it's going to review the disk to identify if there's any defragmentation. As you can see, that majority of my disk, there's no issues there. Oh, let's give F a shot. Depending on how much data you have saved on your hard drives, depends on how long the process will take. So basically, if it comes back and says it's 10-15 percentage, or 15 up percentage, then you would select optimize, and it will basically do is optimization to defrag that disk. Let's cover this one. Startup applications. So behind scenes, Windows 10, it can do some sort of analysis of to see how certain applications affect or impact your computer when they start up. Right click on task bar and select task manager. Okay, so from here what we're going to do is select startup, and as you can see we're sorting by startup impact, thus being high. As we can see, Steam has been deemed as a high application that will affect our startup. So basically Windows starts up and Steam is still loading behind scenes. Give me a minute, I gotta check for updates, blah blah blah. That's why Steam, it's like every time you launch it, it's gotta be like, okay, let me check, gotta do some update checking. Yep, good to go. So yeah, I can definitely see that. As you can see, I have disabled some things, some being because they were deemed as high. Once you disable them, restart, that startup impact goes to none, once it's disabled. And some others I disabled because I just don't use it, like Cortana, don't use it. The whole your phone thing, don't use it. Skype, don't use it. Some of these iTunes things, Microsoft Edge, like, why do I need this? Whenever I need to use the web browser, I'll just click on it. I don't need, OneDrive. I don't really, drag and drop files to OneDrive from my desktop. If I do need OneDrive, I'll just go to the web. Okay, so the last thing that I want to say that can be beneficial to you is programs, is to remove old programs. Okay, old programs, it's just like dead weight on your hard drive. And not just that, because some programs, they do have services running behind scenes, and that services is utilizing hardware resources. So why have it using something when you don't need it? So as you've seen, we click on the start menu, we just type programs, and before I even get to it, where you see add and remove programs, we're going to click on that puppy there. All right, so what I like to do from here is I like to sort this by based on how often I use these programs. So we can do, this should be, I'm not finding the options here. Because there's an options. I could have sworn that there was an options that lets you sort by. Let me just click on this drive and see if it. No, that's not telling me. I could have sworn that there was an option that said, last used. I gotta look at that. Because I could have sworn there was an option that would say, last used. Let me. Yeah, I'm not seeing it here. I'll look at that. Because I know this basically goes by the last install date, of which you can also filter by that. Let's see which one was. Let's go at the bottom. So let's see, anything that I don't use since 2020. This is my gaming rig, so it just pretty much has software for gaming. It doesn't really have, too much craziness. Yeah. So, yep, guys. If you haven't used it in a while, remove it. Just remove it. So guys, before we wrap it up, I'm just going to run a quick game test so that way you guys can see how well my game is running. Yes, I do have some modifications done to my hardware, and no, they're not the latest and greatest hardware, but I do have some modifications. Starting with the CPU, it's a 8-core AMD FX 8350. Yes, I do still have the 8350. She is kicking, she is running well. Alright, so memory, I have 32 gigs installed, but however, Windows has been Windows. It's displaying 18, however, when I'm truly using some sort of high memory application, it increases, the number goes up. So for my C drive, which is my Windows operating system drive, I basically just have Windows utilize that drive for the operating system and operating systems applications. I do not have games installed on my C drive, and the reason is because you want to separate the task. And the reason being is because I found that when you basically run your games on a separate hard drive other than your operating system hard drive, you're not stressing your system out. You'll allow your operating system hard drive to perform its functions for the operating system, and then for gaming, that gaming hard drive, it performs the functions for the gaming. So you'll reach the maximum speed, the read and write speed. You'll get the best read and write speed just by doing that. Operating system, I have that installed on its own solid state drive. Okay, as you can see, SSD. For games, as I mentioned, G is for games. I have my games also installed on their own separate solid state drive, and you can see right now this is low utilization for Windows, low utilization for our gaming. Now, if I start a game up, then you'll start to see this number to increase. For my Ethernet connection, running the killer 2200 gigabyte Ethernet connection, which I'm just basically doing a connection of 1 gig. You know, that's definitely doable. Of course, you can always get more than a gig connection at home, but you have to do some major infrastructure upgrades to do so. But 1 gig is enough. So when it comes to the graphics card, I am still running my AMD Radeon R9390. It's an 8 gigs graphics card. It is a old beast. I think this was what they, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say 2017. But for some reason, something kind of tells me, was it 2017 or 2016? One of those years when this card was produced, and it still runs, and it runs good. This card was known for being like a heater because they would get warm, but with proper computer case ventilation, you'll be fine. And I do have a video on computer cases to show you exactly how your computer case fans should be installed, how the directions the air should flow, and how many case fans there should be in a computer case. So check that out. I do have a video on that. But again, as you can see, zero utilization. Like, my computer is running efficiently, just low utilization. And yes, nothing's currently running, but I've seen computers that you would start them up and the CPU would be spiking, memory would be spiking, so you don't want that. If you see that you got an issue, you need to address it. Okay, let's do a quick game test. So we're just gonna do a quick game of Call of Duty. Yes, rock out with that. Alright, we got it. Let me show you. You gotta be kidding me. Thank you.
Enemy soldier incoming. Enemy attack chopper is in the AO. Bring it down and recover the cash.
All right, guys, that is the end of the game. It wasn't a good game, but it's we made it through, baby. We made it through. We lived to see another game. I'll tell you that for a fact. I hope that this video has provided some sort of insight to help you guys troubleshoot your Windows 10 performance issues. Hopefully, it's able to be able to provide some recommendations on, you know, if the configuration route will help you, or if you need to go into the route of which, you know, add an additional hardware resource, which, you know, the cheapest way to do it is just by memory, especially if you got a desktop computer. And if it's a custom built desktop computer, you can easily do that by adding more memory. And if memory doesn't do it, then you can also look into CPU to see which next tier of CPU will be the best CPU for your needs. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you are not a subscriber. Peace.